So why do I speak then about costs? Costs, of course, everybody would say cost is important in the business. You have to reduce your costs. That is for sure, and it has the advantage that it is more or less 100% under your control. It's not so much affected by the overall economical situation, although in zinc, energy is 1/3 of the cost. And the energy price is going down because of it is a commodity, and it is coming down like other commodities. But nevertheless, the question of the cost is not so important because of your result, but it is important because the cost is the element which decides on the price. So I have put on the left side the cash cost of a mine, all the mines in this world, and the cash cost on the smelters. When the things are going very well, it means that you need all the capacity of the mines. Then the last mine, which is on your right side, which is at around 140, and this again is this complicated US cents per lips and so on. But just conceptually, it is the last marginal mine that you still need to supply the world, which will fix the minimum price. And you see that will be at around 140. Now, if the situation deteriorates and actually the demand is getting down, then only the mines which still be needed for producing this output, they will decide on the price. That means that today it's more at the average, around the 4 million tons or whatever, around the 60, 80, that you have enough capacity for supplying this world. And that is what I said before, big groups who were oriented to maximize the output, they had more or less 40–50% of their capacity, which is beyond that level, and which gave you a marginal contribution when the prices were good, but which you have to stop now. And that's the problem we see in a lot of industries. It is the same for smelter, but it is the mining cash cost which decides on if you operate or not. And it is also a consequence of the fact that people are much more focused today on their financial results, that the reaction is much faster. It is absolute bullshit to hear that people say, I'm the leader, I have decided to cut production because I want to keep the prices. No, they have cut production because for cost reasons, they can just not produce. They would be in cash drain. And that is leading, when you look at this graph, you have 3 crises on this. You have 2 crises before, and the last one is this crisis that we would have today. So for the first 2 crises, there was no reaction. Actually, even companies produced more than before. It is only this time that you have a significant and immediate adaptation of your output. In steel industry, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, thought that in any case steel was cyclical business. Sometimes you earned money, sometimes you lost money. Today nobody can afford anyway to say, I lose money, but when I look at the sum it's better. So basically that is the reason why there is a much faster reaction today in function of your performance of your plan to the market. But it is true that it is very, very helpful that this reaction speed is much higher. When you go to the next slide, it is in my view interesting because I thought, so page 5, that people would have this in mind. When you look at the peak of different materials, so when they came to their peak, you see that the peak of zinc was in November 2006. And you see that the peak of lead was in 2007. You see only copper in 2008. But all those materials were peaking before and were going down. So actually it was obvious that something was happening. Because of this is anticipating what the future demand will be. But nobody reacted. It is also interesting to see when you go at zinc that it is already going up. So these materials have gone through the trough, and the price seems to indicate that, and as they are as an average 1 year ahead, the price seems to indicate that you would believe that in 1 year from now, average-wise, all the other indicators should follow in a positive way. The only thing what we do not know is, will it again go to a peak, or will it improve slightly or not? From my career in starting looking at 74, crisis in steel industry, first oil shock, people just tried to contain the problem and to overcome some years, and then thought that the problem would be over. That was not the case. It needed the second oil shock, 79, and then people understood that structural changes would be necessary. It would be good if everybody today would be aware of that and would understand that, but it would make a lot of sense not to believe that it's just a question of surviving and going forward, but that structural changes would have to happen. One slogan I always use, and I see it, and it is due to the fact that I like shooting, trap shooting, yes, it's what you have in the company is too little, too slow. People believe that the situation is getting a little bit worse, but just by adapting a little bit more, you could survive. It's not the case. You have completely to anticipate what could be the next future, and then you have to shoot in that place and not just being continuously behind. In my case, this is also necessary. You see it on the right side. Unfortunately, as it is a listed company, my share price is directly correlated to the zinc price. And another challenge we will have is not only to know how we should position ourselves for the future scenarios, once we have made sure that we would at least reach that level, but we also have to make sure that we can disconnect our share price from that correlation. It means that we have to think either in other directions, in upstream integration or maybe in downstream integration, but not necessarily in vertical integration. So just growing the misery we have bigger by multiplying by 2 or by 3, it does not be solution. But in any case, that is one of the points that we have. And if you look at our share price today, the zinc price having gone up, it is again still correlated. So it has increased by less 45% since 1st of January, the zinc price by 20%. So it is basically to say you can do a lot of efforts, you can do bring in a lot of actions, which actually in the future will give you a floor when things are going down, and should allow you to go higher than this correlation when there is a lot of upside.